Go right, Commissioner.
All right, good morning. I'm Commissioner Jeff Huff, and welcome to Bannock County's Board of Equalization. I have a brief thing here to read. I'd like to officially call this meeting to order, and the purpose of this board is to hear property assessment appeals and to ensure that all assessments are fair, equitable, and in accordance with the state law. According to Idaho Code Section 63502, our role is confined strictly to assuring that the market value for assessment purposes of your property has been properly determined by the assessor. We are not here to discuss taxes, only property value. Before we begin, it is crucial that you understand your role in this process. Under Idaho law, you are the taxpayer and have the burden of proof when seeking to change your assessment. This means that you have to establish that the assessor's determination is erroneous. However, the standard of proof required is reasonable and achievable. You only need to provide a preponderance of evidence. So then the question is, what does a preponderance of evidence mean? That just means that you need to make your case to prove to us or provide us with some basis to maybe refute what the assessor is saying. Some credible evidence includes recent sales or comparables in your area, professional appraisal, evidence of property condition, damage or limitations, documentation of factors affecting the market value, or if you have photographs demonstrating the condition of your property. That is all acceptable material for today's process. This is a formal hearing, and we ask that all testimony be respectful, relevant, and based on factual information. All individuals providing testimony will be sworn in. Each party will be given 3 minutes to present your case. So when you come up, you'll be asked to state your name for the record, and then your time will begin. We have a little timer up here. When the red light goes off, your 3 minutes is up, and we'll then give the assessor's office an opportunity to respond to that. However, the board may ask questions throughout your presentation and/or the presentation of the assessor. Then our decision will be based on whether you've met the preponderance of evidence standard, and we'll go from there. So with that, Nancy, will you?
Mr. Chair.
Oh, yes.
I'd make a motion we go into the Board of Equalization.
Thank you. I forgot about that. I appreciate that. We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Nancy, will you now, those that will be testifying today, please rise and be sworn in.
You'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Okay, with that, first on the list today is Chris Trulio. Did I say that correctly? Chris, are you here? Okay. Come on up, Chris. So go ahead and have a seat and then introduce yourself, and your 3 minutes will begin.
I am Chris Trujillo. I didn't bring my papers with me for my taxes for just the value of the land of the house that I purchased. I purchased this house in 21 for $320,000. That was for 2 separate parcels. Last year I sold one of the parcels off for $140,000, so I paid $180,000 for this parcel. Last year's taxes were at $371,000, and now this year they're up to $438,000. So I just don't think it's worth that kind of numbers that are putting on there.
And do you have anything to back that up?
From when I sell it, my sales of purchasing it?
Yeah, so you sold some last year, you said?
Yes.
So you had 2 lots?
In 2021, I purchased 2 lots. They're adjacent to each other. 494 Marsh Creek and 472 Marsh Creek. There's a trailer house. And we sold the trailer house portion in the spring of this year for $140,000. So therefore, I've paid $180,000 for this parcel.
And so when you bought the property 2 years ago,
They were combined. They were together. It was 2 separate parcels, but I purchased them together.
okay, so 2 parcels purchased at one time for how much?
$320,000. That was a full price offer.
Okay. And on one of the parcels was a trailer
A
home.
trailer house.
Okay. And
It was 1 acre.
Are the parcels the same size?
It was a 1 acre parcel with a trailer house on it that I sold for $140,000. I kept the other 3 acres with the other house on it, so I paid $180,000 for it, basically.
So 3 acres plus a house
Yeah.
on the other. Okay. Okay. Anything else you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. Assessor, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Chris?
Not at this point.
Okay. Assessor, your response?
Hello, my name is Alyssa Noble. I'm a residential property appraiser in the assessor's office. The subject parcel is on 494 Marsh Creek Road in McCammon. The first page is the property record card that you'll see where it breaks out the valuation and the assessed value. On the third page, you'll see the comparables sheet for subject property. Subject property has a home on it. It's built in 1967 with about 3,078 finished square feet. It is
That's it.
Shift. Wait till she's done.
It is assessed at $438,398. Price per square foot comes out to $103 per square foot. Comparable one is also a rural parcel outside the city limits of Pocatello. Similar acreage on that parcel. Year built is 1976 with a little over 2,200 square feet, coming in at $156 per square foot. Comparable 2 is also a rural parcel outside the city limits of Pocatello. Similar year built, a little over 3,100 square feet, coming in at $102 per square foot. And comparable 3, similar acreage to subject property at 2.75 acres, year built 1964. Square feet, total finished square feet is 2,288, and price per square foot coming in at $172. And on the next page in the sales vicinity map, you'll see where the comparables lie in comparison to the subject property, rural parcels outside the city limits. Yes, and yes, and subject property was recently reviewed in 2024, and we ask that the value be upheld for review year 2025.
Okay. Sir, you had a question about the
I
square
did, the
footage?
square footage is just, the base is 1,200 up and 1,200 down, so it's 2,400 square foot. And then they converted the garage over, I think it was 300 square foot, so I think that makes it 2,700 square foot for the house.
Okay. And we showed it as 3,000, so there's about a 300 square foot difference between the two. Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
So you said you sold the other parcel
Yes.
last year.
Yeah, the spring of this year.
Okay, so my question is, the parcels were already assessed differently. I mean, so they weren't combined before, so this is last year's assessment without that other parcel on it, so,
Right, this is just this particular.
this parcel, okay. Because if that was the situation, then you'd just split it up, then I could see a concern there. But this is what you've done. You did come in to BOE in 2022. Looked like that there was an adjustment made then. And sometimes that's when after we've made adjustments, it catches up. One of my concerns is the distance between the comps and the parcel. There's a difference between outside Pocatello and Marsh Creek Road. I mean, that is one of my concerns there.
Yeah, I was looking at that as well. Commissioners, anything?
The only thing I would add is you did sell your other lot for $140,000,
Yes.
which did have a small mobile home on it, which
Yes.
really, as far as value. In the assessed value, they're only showing your land value of 114. So in a nutshell, if you sold that property for $140,000, we very well could use that as a comparison, which would add another $25,000, $26,000 to your property value there. So I do have an issue with that. That you have actually, your own sale actually helped determine the land value of basically $135,000, $140,000. So I do have, I can see that we're actually giving you the benefit of the doubt on the land value. Again, the price per square footage, that may be okay if there is a difference in actual square footage versus what we've assessed. You know, there's always that possibility that we could take the price per square foot times the actual square footage and look at that. But that's a question that I would bring up at that point.
And then you come down to the preponderance of evidence.
Yeah.
And I don't see a preponderance of evidence. I mean, nothing was brought forward to change what the assessors assess the property at, in my opinion.
I would concur. The only thing that I can really look at, as Commissioner Bullock, is the discrepancy in square footage. How much of a discrepancy would 300?
Well, so I need to know how much he said again. I can't remember what he said square footage was.
He said his square footage was roughly 2,700 square feet.
2,700.
1,200 up, 1,200 down, and then 300 for the garage that was converted.
Yes.
And we have 1,539 in the basement. And we have 1,539 on the main floor as well. And we can go out and remeasure it. I'm probably not. We can go out and remeasure
Well,
it if we need to.
Only the basement would, I mean, because if you're adding that converted garage, you're gonna get up to that 1,500 square feet. It's
Yeah,
just
so-
different in the garage. How much different,
Yeah, well, how much would 300 square feet in the
in a
basement
garage.
change
How
things?
much is the rate? I'm not figuring it out.
And are you measuring inside the house or outside the house?
We measure outside.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the basement does not go the full length of the house. The basement is smaller than the upper garage. For the upper garage portion, there's nothing underneath there.
Okay. So
but are you measuring inside?
I haven't made, I've just gone off the market value when I purchased the house with square footage.
So the
And
basement is.
they have gone out and measured the exterior walls.
Yes.
Okay.
So
There's a little bit of a difference there, yes.
you're going off a document and they're going off a measurement that they did, so.
I don't see where it's gonna make that big a difference.
It's not. And
It's great in the basement.
Yeah, and I appreciate your thoughts that we sold off half of it, so it shouldn't be that much, but I think there's some flawed logic in that, because you kept the more valuable piece.
Yes.
And you have the additional, so I think I'm probably gonna have to stand with the assessor on this one. I would entertain a motion on someone's thought.
Mr. Chair, on parcel RPR 40150311601, I make a motion that we uphold the assessor's value.
We have a motion, is there any further discussion? Okay, no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we have upheld the assessor's value. You still can appeal that through the State Board of Appeals. Yeah, we'll send you a letter letting you know information for that and the decision of divorce.
The district court.
Or through the district courts. Okay, thank you. Tamara Peterson.
I'm gonna head back to the office, and I'll come back for my 11.
No Tamara? James Davies? James, go ahead and state your name for the record, and then your time will begin.
It's James Davies. I have some copies here.
Did you send those copies in to us previously?
I sent a copy, yes.
Okay, we have that here.
You do have it,
Yep.
okay. I was reading on there.
Oh, appreciate that.
Okay. I called the assessor's office and visited with them about the appraisal, how it had gone up this year, about $60,000 over 2024 value. And anyway, it got me into doing some real research after I visited with them, looking at my property and how they appraise it. They appraise the land and also the improvements above that. So I started doing some comparison in my neighborhood as what the appraiser said that my house was based upon my neighborhood. And I looked at, first of all, I looked at the land value, the square footage of the land, and mine is being appraised at $11.48 a square foot versus other homes in my neighborhood that have larger lots. They appraised the land value is the same, which gets it down from $8.10 to as low as $2.81 a square foot. Then I looked at the improvement value, and I took homes that were built by some of them by the same contractor that mine was built, and also in the same neighborhood right on my street, and they're about in the same year. And I looked at their improved value above the land, and took that and basically divided that by the square footage again. Mine comes in at $116.24 a square foot. My neighbor to the south, who we had the same contractor and we're only 90 square foot difference in size, he's at $91.29 per square foot. And then I go on down the road, the third one, 2431, was recently sold last year. Their value is $107 per square foot, and goes on. Then I took homes that are directly behind me, built in 2006, directly behind me or right across the street, and to look at their appraised values also, and they all come in considerably lower than what they have appraised my home at based on square footage. And so this is why I decided to appeal the appraisal value on my home this year.
Okay. And I applaud you for your efforts in research. Thank you. I appreciate that. My question to you real quick before we go to the assessor is the appraised values that you're quoting, where are you getting that information from?
I get that right off the Bannock County Parcel Viewer.
Okay, great.
And it's their information.
Okay, thank you.
So, taking it off the parcel viewer, is that this year's values or last year's values?
This year's.
This year's, it's up to date.
You just got them recently, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. All right, assessor?
Okay, my name is Joshua Stokes. I'm appraiser for Bannock County. I'm the gentleman that talked to Mr. Davies here over the phone a few weeks ago. As we're looking at the parcel house, it is understandable that it can be concerning to see the values and stuff go up, but if we turn to the comparables page, his subject property we have in as a one-story, built in 2013, with 3,280 finished square feet, 1,640 on the upper floor and 1,640 on the lower floor. With the garage, we also have, as a result, his assessed value is at $606,359. We've taken the land out and any outbuildings out so that when we're looking at just the appraised value of the house alone, it's at $479,099 or at $146 a square foot. The three comparables that we're using, as you can see, are the same house type. They are all built, I believe, within 9 years of one another. And they have roughly 3,000 square feet. finished square feet up and down like the subject property. We also have, I would point out, the sales prices of these homes are also $617,000 or $629,000 and $530,000. So one below and two above when you were looking at the sales prices. And you look at the price per square foot of each of these comparables, while the subject is at $147 a square foot. Comparable 1 is $147, comparable 2 is at $178, and comparable 3 is at $146. These, and if you look at the map, you'll see that these parcels are all within 3 to 10 homes of the subject property. They're in the same neighborhood, same land schedule, same market area, so when they're costed at the same rate. And these are sales that have occurred in this past year. They've all been time adjusted to January 1st, 2025. And as you can see on the sales map, there are those red blocks are other sales that have occurred even closer, but they weren't included because they were different house types or different square footage. And obviously, the bigger the home, the lower the price per square foot. And so we try to stick to a similar year, the similar square footage, and the similar house type when we are doing our sales analysis. So we did look at it, and we wanted to see if there was something that was a little off here. And so I did discuss that with the owner over the phone there, just to make sure that the information we had was accurate. And for the most part, from what we can tell, it was accurate. It was last visited in 2023. So in our research, from what we've been able to find, though the values did go up this year, everybody in the county is experiencing an increase. And it's pretty typical to see a $50,000 or $60,000 increase. So we would recommend upholding the value.
Okay. Questions, commissioners?
I can't see anything that I could grab a hold of that would change anything. The one thing we do need to be cautious about is this is based on sales data of within the last 12 months.
Correct.
Which does reflect the higher rate of almost everybody in the county. So you would think that property values would go up.
Correct.
The neighborhood looks similar enough to me. And there's nothing in the presentation that we have that would make me change, that would deter me away from upholding the assessed value of the assessor's office.
Commissioner?
I don't have anything.
I look at the land value and how it stayed steady for the last 3 years, so the increases come in the improvements, and just looking at current market values for homes of that size, which again I realize we're stopping effective January, but the current market value is above what the assessed value is at this point in time. So I applaud your effort. I love seeing the homework go into it, but I'm with Commissioner Bullock. I don't see where we could really change the assessed value at this point in time. You have anything else?
With that, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend on parcel RPGF 1000600 the assessed value be upheld from the assessors.
Okay, we have a motion. Any further discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we've chosen to uphold the assessed value. You can appeal that through the courts or through the State Tax Commission, or excuse me, through the State Board of Appeals. You'll receive a letter notifying you of those courses and the decision today within the next little bit. All right, thank you. Laura? Minor? I don't see Laura, so that would mean Gary. You're up.
You're not gonna wait 24 hours for this.
You know, you have.
I was out in the hallway the whole time.
You found your way back.
Yep. So go ahead and state your name and address for the record, and then your time will begin.
Gary Equalization, 467 La Valle Strada, Pocatello. This won't impinge on my time because I'm going to be quick.
Okay.
Can anybody direct me on where to find out where the county's at? It's my understanding that the state has a 3% rule on property tax increase total value from 1 year to the next.
No, that's on our budget. Our budget cannot exceed that 3% increase. It does not on
Okay.
property tax
Okay.
valuations.
Okay, on to, I don't know if you folks have a copy of my appeal.
We do.
One sale directly across the street from my house.
Hold on 1 second, Gary.
Yes.
Do you see, what did you submit for your appeal? Just the front page, the one page?
The one page. That
Okay,
was
we
it.
do have that then.
Yeah, yep. 464 La Valle Strada, I'll just read off of here, is assessed at $364,318, recorded transfer of title on 9/17/2024. I'm aware as a former appraiser that anything 6 months or less is better, but 12 months is acceptable. This lands right at 9 months, so I think we're good on value. And since it's such close proximity, I feel it would probably be the best comparable to use as well. The home is on record at 1,722 square feet, which puts us at $211.57 per square foot. The subject property, 467 La Valle Strada, is on record as 1,884 square feet at a per square foot assessed value, using the valuation of the sale recorded across the street on 9/17/24, would put the subject property assessed value at $398,592. Obviously, what I'm asking for is just a minimal adjustment. I'm suggesting that there's a overvaluation of $3,411, not counting inclusive of the homeowner's exemption. So that would put it at $273,592. And that's it.
Okay. Any questions so far?
I'd like to listen to the assessor,
Okay.
because there's a worksheet here.
All right, the assessor.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
What did you say your overage, you thought your overage was?
On the value, $3,411.
Okay.
So just to make sure I'm tracking, the assessed value is $412,448.
402,
Yeah, it's 402.
Oh, 402,
003.
003, and so you're suggesting it should be 399,003?
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, $398,592.
Okay, go ahead. You have another question? Or?
No more
All right, the
questions.
time is yours then.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, I'm Jason Speth, residential appraiser for the assessor's office. We're looking at parcel RPVDA 001200. The address is 467 La Valle Strada. Not sure if I pronounced that right. The first page is the property record card showing what the current value is at 402,003. A gentleman had called in and spoke to another appraiser, and we do have a future record on that property that will go on for 2026 for some additions that we found while talking on the phone as well. But that won't be till 2026. Go to the comparable page. I actually used the same comparable as he did, right across the street. The comparable is RPVDA 001600. The subject property is coming in around $163 a square feet or a square foot. The first comparable is 1600, is coming in about $180 a square foot. Due to the size difference, it's not much, it's very close. But naturally, the more square foot you have, the less per square foot you have. This kind of shows that he's right there within range based on the square footage. And then the other comparables were just a little to show if you go a little bit less on the square footage, he's still sitting below on the square foot. And then I even had another comparable I found which was lower than his per square foot, and it's very similar to his square footage. So it shows that he's equitable and he's right there where he should be. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The 1600 is a smaller home as well. It's like 500 square foot difference than his. So that's going to make a big difference on the value too. But other than that, I don't have anything else. I just ask that you, based on the evidence, that you uphold the values for the assessor's office.
Okay, commissioners?
So your worksheet data says that actually it should be $10,000 more.
It should be, but for 2026.
Oh, that's
So, and
2026.
We're kind of,
Okay,
we're not going to put that value on until then because it was. filed.
okay, because looking at this worksheet, I'm
Correct.
saying
That's why.
our obligation is to raise or to lower. And if you're saying it's worth $10,000 more,
Right.
okay,
That's why I
that
wanted to
answers
point
that
that out,
question
so,
for me.
yeah.
So, other than that, I
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
What-
Address the board here.
I'm sorry, what was the price per square foot that was used on the 464?
464 was $180 a square foot.
On the improvements or the whole property? I don't know how it's being parsed.
The land's taken out, so it'll be just on the.
On the
dwelling
improvement.
Itself, yes, correct.
and the land is valued at the same price.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, all the subjects are too. They're all in the same area, within 4 blocks.
That was as of last year when they did that. They came through and
As of January.
made everything, yeah, same.
Okay. Anything else?
With my take on that, you do have more square footage, finished square, well, overall, more square footage than all of the other three, more finished. I don't see enough difference in there and I guess the other thing is with your recommendation, you're only talking $3,000. If you take proportional $125,000 off of there for homeowners exemption, we're talking peanuts. So with that, I just don't see any need for, especially this year, to go through any changes other than, what we have before us. That's my opinion.
Okay.
There's been, ever since I bought this house, which ended up being a regrettable experience because it was advertised in the multiple listing service as 235 square feet bigger than what it actually was. A week before close of escrow, having been a licensed broker, certified appraiser, real estate agent for over 40 years, I knew where to look on that appraisal, and the square footage showed, well, we've got 90% of our stuff moved into storage. What do you do at that point? You eat it when there's no other homes available. So it appraised for value, but the square footage was not what it was originally represented. And I just got an earful from Bill Isley about, well, you signed the paperwork. I'm not even going to go into that. So I sent a letter in because when I got my first assessor's notice, the square footage was different from what was advertised and different from what the appraisal came in. And I sent all of that information into the assessor's office requesting what are the standards for determining what the square footage is. Because obviously, the appraiser came out and did her due diligence and measured each room properly. I'm going to go with what the appraiser came up with, which actually is just a little bit more, because when I came in actually to the office this last time, I says, I still haven't figured out, we haven't come up with why there's a disparity on the square footage. And I was told, well, you know, your utility room is downstairs, and I go, in the garage. It's not on the inside of the house. And there's like, that's where next year's increase is gonna come, because of that square footage is now gonna be added, which is gonna bring it up probably just about to where the appraiser actually had the square footage. No, nothing to do with any of you folks. I love you guys to death, but this has been a shit show, to be honest with you. And it nothing to do with you guys, but I wish the real estate laws, I've been licensed in California, I've been licensed in Texas. Texas has treble damages laws for errors or omissions, which is fantastic, keeps people on their toes. I wish some of the laws would change here to make it more restrictive on how agents and agencies represent properties to buyers. And with that, I will close.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, on parcel RP, RPV, DA001200, I make a motion that we uphold the assessor value.
We have a motion. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we upheld.
That darn $3,000 is gonna break me, man.
I know, I'm sorry.
But it's just the assessment.
Well, sadly, I figured out how to get around this. I'm putting it up for sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we'll have a comparable.
Yeah, that's right, you will, and it'll probably be a good one, probably better than I wanted.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Okay, we have two that did not show, so let's take a quick look at those.
So, Mr. Chair, on parcel RPRPSY1001300, I make a motion that we uphold the assessor's value. No one appeared, and the information that we did receive has no value.
Okay. Any discussion on that one? No. We have a motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And on the other one?
So which one was that one that you just did?
That was
Minor.
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 Minor. The other one was
Peterson.
Peterson.
So on parcel RPRPSUV002000, I make a motion that we uphold the assessor's value for no one showing up, and the information doesn't change my opinion.
We have a motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Hey, at least you got to come up and appear on camera.
We will stand at recess until 11